We are reading the daily reading exercise, and let me uh, focus the quality of this video. We are reading the chapter today, Ferns Part 2 and Seed Ferns. There are more than 11,000 species of fern today, making them the largest main group of plants after the flowering plants or angiosperms. Like many other types of simpler plants, they reproduce by spores. Ferns first appeared in the Devonian, thrived through the Carboniferous, became less common during the late Permian and Middle Cretaceous, but underwent a resurgence during the Tertiary. The Xeronius or Pesopteris. The identification and grouping of fern fossils is a very tricky subject, as exemplified by the preserved remains of fronds called Pesopteris. It was eventually discovered that these grew on a tree ferns that had already received their own names, such as Xeronius, from the fossils of their strong, thick trunks. In addition, other parts of these plants, such as rhizomes, have also received yet more names. Xeronius was one of the most common tree ferns of late Carboniferous and early Permian times. It would have superficially resembled a modern palm tree, growing with a tall, straight, unbranched trunk and an umbrella-like crown of fronds. Small roots branching from the lower main stem, called adventitious roots, caused thickening of the lower trunk, which was known as root menton. This arrangement helped to stabilize the whole tree fern. Xeronius is thought to have grown on elevated and dry areas around the swamplands. Its dominance towards the end of Carboniferous period is associated with climate warming and the disappearance of flooded wetlands. It faded later in the Permian, where the climate became drier and hotter. To add to the confusion, some specimens of Pesopteris have been reassigned to the genus Labyrtopteris, which is not a true fern but a member of a different plant group, the seed ferns. Lobapteris, a difficult name, and I can see I'm hazy in this video, because I'm not going to focus it again because it unnecessarily interrupts and breaks the rhythm. Parts of the famous Mason Creek fossils of Central North America, Lobapteris is an example of common problem that occurs in paleontology. Often a genus name has to be changed at some later date because new discoveries about its true nature and classification come to light as further finds are made. As a result, some species of Pesopteris from the true ferns have now been renamed in the genus and reclassified as seed ferns. The whole plant would have resembled a sizable tree, growing several meters in height and living in the drier, probably more elevated areas around the swamplands. Pteridosperms mostly had fern-like foliage, but they produce real seeds as opposed to spores as in true ferns. Ferns, fronds, leaves and leaflets. The part of typical fern commonly called leaves are also known as fronds. These may be smooth-edged and undivided, as in today's hard-tongued fern. Alternatively, they may be deeply divided or dissected into many smaller sections, which are themselves subdivided, and so on. With a repeating pattern, the terminology associated with all these parts is complex, but in general, the frond is comparable to the whole leaf with the stalk, which grows up from the root area. The stalk of the frond is called the style. The rachis is the main stalk or stem that runs along the middle of the frond, from which the other parts branch to each side, often in simultaneously pairs or alternatively. The pinna or leaflet is one of these branches from the main stalk, or rachis or frond. Pinnules or subleaflets may branch from the stalk of the pinna. This is called a twice divided or twice cut frond. A pinnule may in turn have a lobed structure, giving a thrice divided or thrice cut frond. When the fronds are young, they are curled up in a spiral form. As they unfurl, they are known as fiddle-heart. With their changing shapes and detailed structures, ferns are often important as index or marker fossils, helping to date the rock layers in which they are found. So that was all from my side today. It was the daily reading exercise with name Ferns and Seed Ferns. It was from the book Complete Guide to Fossils and Fossils Collection by Triple H House. Thank you.